For decades, the world has been fascinated by the closed-off society of North Korea, ruled by the Kim dynasty with an iron fist.
전체 인민이 장구한 세월 허리띠를 조이며 바라던 평화 수호의 강력한 복음을 들어주었습니다.
Countless defectors have risked their lives to escape the regime's clutches, shedding light on the horrors endured by the North Korean people. But what goes on behind the heavily guarded walls of power, and what secrets lie buried beneath the facade of grandeur and oppression? Join us as we unravel the story of one woman who dared to defy the odds and was once only known as the concubine of the supreme leader. Yeon-mi Park's courageous quest for freedom. North Korea has always been mysterious, and it's not hard to see why. The country keeps to itself so much that even the little we know about it can spark debate. This secrecy doesn't just affect outsiders, it affects everyday people living in North Korea too. They're cut off from the rest of the world, with no internet to connect them to what's happening beyond their borders. Despite this isolation, there have been brave souls who dared to seek freedom from the oppressive rule of the Kim dynasty. They risked everything, even their lives, to escape. Yeon-mi Park is one such person. Born into poverty in North Korea, she made a daring choice in 2007 to leave her homeland behind. She fled the oppression and poverty enforced by the government, seeking refuge in the West. Yeon-mi's story is one of courage and resilience. She left everything familiar behind, knowing the risks involved. Her journey was perilous, but she refused to let fear hold her back. Yeon-mi was born October 1993 in Haeyan Rangang, part of North Korea known for its relatively comfortable lifestyle. But despite its middle-class status, this region is a strange place, sitting closely against the northern border of China. This geographic peculiarity makes it a common route for those trying to escape the strict regime of North Korea, often needing to pass through the very province. Born into a simple family, Yeon-mi's father worked as a government worker at the Hyang Town Hall, aligning himself with the ruling Workers' Party of Korea. Yet the family's financial situation was not rich. Living so close to the Chinese border, rumors circulated that Yeon-mi's father supplemented their income through secret activities, smuggling goods from China into North Korea. North Korea's lack of resources is well known, leaving its citizens struggling to secure even basic needs like food. The country's isolationist policies, along with strict economic sanctions, have made these shortages worse. Consequently, some resourceful people resort to trading goods obtained from China on the black market, a risky but potentially profitable endeavor. However, the punishment of getting caught engaging in such activities by the authoritarian government are severe, often resulting in dire consequences. Yeon-mi's realization of the world beyond North Korea came unexpectedly, through watching the popular movie Titanic. The film, set against the backdrop of a tragic love story, struck a chord with her teenage self. The themes of love and freedom portrayed in the movie left a lasting impression on Yeon-mi, fueling her desire for a life beyond the borders of her homeland. Reflecting on her journey, Yeon-mi shared her transformative experience at the Oslo Freedom Forum. She recounted how Titanic gave her a glimpse into a world far from the propaganda-fed narrative of North Korea. It was a catalyst for her realization that the government's control over its citizens was oppressive. Inspired by the character's pursuit of love and freedom, Yeon-mi held onto a newfound determination to break free from the repressive grip of her homeland. This desire for freedom became a guiding force, propelling her forward amidst the darkness of censorship and control. North Korean life and daring escape. Life in North Korea was far from easy for anyone. Simply moving within the country was a daunting task, let alone traveling to another nation. Her account painted a bleak picture of a society where survival was a constant struggle. Each day brought the risk of not making it out alive. The constant fear and uncertainty created a heavy burden on its citizens. In 2007, a brave 13-year-old Yeon-mi made a daring choice. Despite the risk, she decided to leave her home country of North Korea in pursuit of freedom. Her story is recounted in a 2014 article in The Telegraph, sheds light on the challenges and dangers she faced. Yeon-mi's father had run into trouble with the authorities for smuggling goods from China. Though he managed to avoid jail through bribery, the family knew they had to leave to escape the repercussions. They planned to flee to China, but Yeon-mi's sister In-mi left early without telling the rest of the family. Leaving North Korea illegally carries severe consequences. Those who escape risk punishment, but even worse, their families back home could face retaliation from the government. Knowing this, Yeon-mi's family feared for their safety. To protect them, Yeon-mi's father arranged for Yeon-mi and her mother to leave the country with the help of brokers who specialized in smuggling North Koreans into China. Living in a border town, Yeon-mi's family had an advantage. They could quickly cross into China, which they did on March 13, 2007. However, the journey was far from easy. Yeonmi recalls the darkness of North Korea, where electricity was scarce. The sight of lights from China gave her hope, but the border was heavily guarded with electrified fences. Yeonmi's sister had left her a note with the name of someone who could help them escape. With the contact's assistance, they bribed the guards and crossed the border, braving the frozen river into China. Once in China, Yeonmi and her mother found refuge in a Christian shelter run by Chinese and South Korean missionaries. Despite the risk of being caught, they were able to move around thanks to the large Korean population in the area. With the missionaries' help, they eventually made their way to South Korea via Mongolia, finally tasting freedom. Their journey wasn't without its challenges. At the Mongolian border, authorities threatened to send Yeonmi and her mother back to China. It took pleading and negotiation to convince them to allow them into Mongolia. They were placed under house arrest at a detention center in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia's capital, before finally being flown to Seoul, South Korea, from Genghis Khan International Airport. Years later, Yeonmi learned that her sister Ime had also escaped to South Korea via China and Thailand. Despite the separation, they were eventually reunited. However, the fate of their father remains unknown. Yeonmi believes he chose to stay behind due to illness, hoping it would allow them to escape more quickly. Whether he gained his freedom like the rest of the family is uncertain. Kim Jong-un Pleasure Squad. The tale of the Pleasure Squad, known as the Gippeonanzo in North Korea, has its roots stretching back to the era of Kim Il-sung, founding father of North Korea. However, it was during the reign of his son, Kim Jong-il, that the Pleasure Squad truly came into the spotlight. Created to amuse and secure the allegiance of the political elite, the main aim of the Pleasure Squad was to offer entertainment, companionship, and various services to North Korea's elite class. Kim Jong-il, infamous for his lavish lifestyle, further developed and refined the role of the Pleasure Squad during his rule, which began in 1994. Some believe that he established this group to divert his father, Kim Il-sung's attention away from politics, thus enabling Kim Jong-il to consolidate his power. This tradition persisted under the current leader, Kim Jong-un, despite initial reports suggesting that he had dissolved the group. The Pleasure Squad also serves as a tool to secure the loyalty of high-ranking officials by granting them access to exclusive gatherings. Moreover, it fosters a culture of corruption and entitlement within the North Korean hierarchy, further alienating the ruling class from the daily struggles of ordinary citizens. The process of recruiting young women into the Pleasure Squad is a distressing narrative, coercion, exploitation, and abuse of power. These women are often forced into servitude, deprived of their basic rights, and subjected to various forms of mistreatment. In a recent interview on the Jordan Harbinger Show on September 2023, the guest shed light on the intriguing topic of the North Korea Pleasure Squads. These squads consist of women selected from various provinces in North Korea. While every year officials receive orders from the party to assemble these squads, they have to handpick girls who meet specific criteria. They must be virgins, attractive, and meet all the government standards, including physical appearance and family background. This process involves collecting information from all over the country. Once gathered, the authorities present the candidates to Kim Jong-un, who personally selects 25 women each year for his Pleasure Squad. However, these women become his companions, despite their leader's less than perfect health. Now, the recruitment process is not just about physical appearance. It's also about political loyalty and family connections. The selected women are expected to serve their leader faithfully and maintain secrecy about their activities. In return, they receive privileges and perks, such as access to better living conditions and opportunities for their families. But those women who aren't chosen for the Pleasure Squad don't necessarily fade into obscurity. Some may be assigned to other roles within the regime, such as working in factories or government offices. However, those who are not deemed suitable for any role may face a more challenging fate. Then, they categorize these women into various groups, one focused on satisfaction, another on happiness through massages, and a third group dedicated to healthcare, addressing various health issues. All these girls undergo training for their respective roles, typically aged between 16 to 23. Imagine this group as an elite squad, just like other countries enlisting qualified males to join the army and help safeguard their national sovereignty. The more skillful a lady is, the better her chances of being put in a select squad. Girls as young as 14 years can be chosen from schools, playgrounds, and other public areas, and then are compelled to perform immoral acts for the pleasure of Kim Jong-un and his party cronies. Yeonmi herself was asked to join this special group, called the Pleasure Squad. She talks about on her own YouTube channel. According to her, I was also invited twice, but I couldn't go because of my family situation. They visit every classroom and even the school yards to find potential members. Once they find some pretty girls, the first thing they do is check their family background. They eliminate the girls whose family members have left North Korea or have relatives in South Korea or other countries. Yeonmi then describes the meticulous steps involved in choosing girls for the pleasure squads, starting with a physical examination. These girls undergo medical tests to confirm their virginity and family background. The final step involves a thorough medical check, where even the tiniest scar could disqualify them. Despite the complexity of the process, only a few teenage girls from across North Korea are selected to undergo intense propaganda training in Pyongyang. The officials tasked with selecting these girls face pressure to meet quotas, as their livelihoods are at stake. This drives them to choose only the most attractive candidates. Yeonmi also reveals that the parents of these girls often have little say in the matter. When government officials or recruiters identify a girl they believe would fit well into the pleasure squads, given the widespread poverty in North Korea, many parents reluctantly agree, hoping their daughters will at least have access to food and a chance at a better life. In certain cases, families may be pressured or given some compensation to allow their daughters to leave home and serve in pleasure squads. The goal is to remove the girls from their families and place them under the control of the government. These government officials are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve this. The training process for these girls can last for several years. They're taught various skills and undergo political indoctrination, which convinces them that serving the regime is something to be proud of and that they are patriots for doing so. Some are even taught to believe that Kim Jong-un, despite his appearance, is the most attractive man in the world, and it would be an honor to be involved with him. At the end of it, the girls are assigned different roles and divided into groups. Eventually, they get to perform at parties attended by high-ranking officials of the ruling party. These parties, held twice a week, are extravagant and allow for all sorts of indulgences. Food and drinks are abundant, and party officials are free to engage in whatever excesses they desire. Singing and dancing performances are provided by members of the pleasure squad, and then the satisfaction groups spring into action, engaging in acts designed to please the party officials. The experience for these girls can be extremely traumatic, with some required to perform multiple acts with multiple people in a single night. Failure to please their guests can result in severe punishment. Additionally, there are happiness groups on hand to provide body massages to party members, and sometimes members of the satisfaction group may engage in additional pleasure sessions. Kim Jong-il was said to be very deliberate in his use of these pleasure squads, even instructing the satisfaction group to seduce party officials and report back on their conversations or any secrets they might reveal. These parties also played a role in Kim's personal life, as he regularly engaged in activities with these women. After their time with the pleasure squad is over, one might assume that these girls would be allowed to return to their families and try to rebuild their lives. However, this is not always the case. Once they've served their purpose, they are often deemed unfit to return to society due to the things they've witnessed and been involved in. They're essentially cut off from their families forever, never to contact them again. Instead, they may be paired with guards or other elite members and sealed off from the public eye. They're essentially forced into marriage with someone they may not even choose, and they can never speak about what they've seen or done. They may not have heard from their families in years and face stigma and ostracization from society. This, coupled with the mental toll of their experiences, makes it challenging for them to rebuild their lives, even if they manage to leave North Korea entirely. They struggle with guilt, shame, and memories of their past lives, making it hard to move forward. Contrasting two sides of a country. In North Korea, the contrast between government officials and regular citizens is harsh. There are groups called pleasure squads. These squads are a reflection of what life is like in North Korean society. They show how much control the government has over people's lives. Firstly, the girls in these pleasure squads are chosen by party officials. Sometimes they're taken from their families forcefully. This shows how much power the government has over ordinary people. These girls are also used as tools by the government to control high-ranking party members. These men have to follow the government's orders if they want to keep their positions. The training these girls undergo shows how the government uses propaganda to control its people. In North Korea, there's no internet, and people can't watch movies or television shows from outside the country. So it's easy for the government to brainwash these girls into thinking that they should dedicate their lives to their leader. They're made to believe that by being with party members, they're serving their country. Pleasure squad parties are held in luxurious places with plenty of food and drinks. Meanwhile, everyday people in North Korea live in poverty and hunger. If they try to improve their lives, the government punishes them severely. But for government officials, life is easy and comfortable. Even the girls who manage to leave North Korea face difficulties. They suffer from psychological trauma from their time in the pleasure squads. The government threatens them constantly. The international community condemns North Korea's actions and calls for change. But North Korea isolates itself from the world, making it hard for outside pressure to make a difference. The country's nuclear weapons program adds to the challenge. North Korea hopes that having nuclear weapons will protect it from outside threats. Despite these challenges, the international community continues to work towards change. The goal is for North Korea to change its ways and for girls to live without fear of being used by those in power. Until then, the fight for justice continues. Kin punishment and internet access policy. In North Korea, if you do something wrong, no matter who you are, the punishment is harsh. It's not just you who gets in trouble, your family suffers too. This is called the kin punishment policy. It means if you break the rules, your parents, grandparents, and even your kids could suffer too. And if they can't find you, they punish your family instead. Lots of people who escaped North Korea have talked about this happening. Under this rule, 3 generations of a family can be punished. This isn't part of the official legal system. It's more like a secret rule of the Workers' Party. The family of the person who broke the rules doesn't even know why they're being punished. Sometimes even the children born in prison get punished. This rule has been around since North Korea was founded in 1948, but it goes back even further, to the old Joseon Kingdom. The prisons in North Korea are designed to be scary. You want to make sure nobody even thinks about breaking the rules. If you're suspected of doing something against the government, they send you to the worst kind of labor camp, called Kwanli. People who've been there say it's unbelievably tough. They're starved, tortured, and hurt all the time. In North Korea, the government tightly controls what information its people can access. They have strict rules about owning computers. To even get a computer, you need special permission from the government. And each computer is registered with the police, as if it's a dangerous weapon. While the internet isn't entirely banned, most North Koreans can't even dream of having a computer, let alone internet access. Only a small number of people, mainly in big cities, have access to computers in places like offices, universities, and cyber cafes. But even then, the internet in North Korea is different from what most of the world knows. It's like going back to 1994. It's called Kwangmyong, or Bright Star, and it mostly uses pirated Japanese versions of old Microsoft software. The internet is mainly used by the government and foreigners. There's some fancy tech stuff like fiber optic links between important places, but regular folks use a network that only works inside North Korea. This network does have access to the global internet, but only for a select few. 2016, people can only visit less than 30 websites, and most of them are about praising the government, business stuff, or basic information like recipes and movies from North Korea. These websites are pretty basic and take forever to load. Some academic places like Pyongyang University of Science and Technology have a bit more freedom online, but even there, everything is watched closely. In 2016, North Korea blocked popular sites like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, along with anything from South Korea. And now they're thinking about upgrading their network to 4G, but who knows what that will mean for internet access. In North Korea, international calls are a crime. Even though there's a mobile service that many people use in North Korea, it's limited. People can only call others within the country. They're not allowed to make international calls. If someone breaks this rule and tries to contact family members who left the country, they can get into serious trouble. They might end up in prison or a detention camp. This makes people who have family members who left North Korea very scared. For many years, people in North Korea have found ways to get phones and SIM cards from China to connect with the outside world. It's risky because if they're caught, they could get punished. But they're willing to take that risk because they want to stay in touch with their families and find out if they're okay. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In a bustling city under the thumb of a feared dictator, a young woman named Leah lived a life of secrecy as the dictator's concubine. With each passing day, she witnessed the tyrant's cruelty and oppression. One moonlit night, she made a daring escape, fleeing to the safety of a neighboring country. In a heart-pounding interview, Leah courageously revealed the dictator's darkest secrets to the world. Her words sparked outrage and ignited a revolution, as people took to the streets demanding freedom and justice. Leah became a symbol of hope and resistance, inspiring others to stand up against tyranny. Despite facing threats and danger, Leah remained steadfast in her mission to expose the truth. Her bravery touched the hearts of millions, and her story spread across the globe. What could have inspired the concubine to stand up against tyranny and embark on such a courageous journey? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. North Korea's secret world of fashion. In North Korea, wearing certain types of clothing, like blue jeans, is forbidden. Kim Jong-un, the leader, sees blue jeans as a symbol of America and capitalism, so he doesn't want people wearing them. It's not just jeans. Other Western clothes like t-shirts and suits are also banned. Instead, people are supposed to wear traditional Korean clothes. The government says these Western clothes represent American power taking over Korea. They're strict about it. They don't like certain hairstyles either, like mullets or spiky hair, and they don't want people dyeing their hair or wearing clothes with big foreign words on them. Since 2022, they've been cracking down even more on Western fashion. There are these groups called the Youth League who go around looking for people breaking the rules. If they catch you with long hair, dyed hair, or clothes they don't like, they make you wait on the side of the road until they're done checking the area. Then they take you to their office and make you admit what you did wrong. They only let you go if someone brings you clothes that are okay to wear. Wearing the same clothes is a big deal in North Korea. The government there believes that if everyone dresses alike, it's tough for anyone to start causing trouble. Your clothes, haircut, and how clean you are all say something about who you are. That's why North Korea controls what its people wear and how they look. They also have rules about how women should dress, like wearing loose and simple clothes. They don't want people copying trends from other countries. Instead, they want everyone to look like they belong to the socialist way of life. If someone tries to stand out with their clothes, they can get publicly embarrassed. Some news said that people could only choose from a few hairstyles, but nobody knows if that's true. However, it's true that women aren't allowed to grow their hair long. Despite all this control, some people still rebel by dressing differently. In the capital city, Pyongyang, you can see women wearing high heels, short skirts, and colorful clothes. They even have a secret market where they buy clothes and makeup from South Korea. To stop this rebellion, North Korea has a group of women called the Fashion Police. They blow whistles and make sure everyone follows the rules. Being caught with South Korean stuff like K-pop can get you in serious trouble, even killed. North Korea sees South Korea as a big threat, especially their music and fashion. In fact, the ruler, Kim Jong-un, really hates K-pop. He thinks it's like a dangerous disease infecting people's minds. Since he became the leader, he's been trying to stop any South Korean influence from getting into North Korea. Kim Jong-un doesn't mess around when it comes to South Korean entertainment. If you're caught watching or sharing South Korean videos, you could end up dead. He's even ordered public executions for people caught with banned content. Kim Jong-un is especially worried about South Korean stuff getting into North Korea through a city called Haisin. Lots of North Koreans who escaped to South Korea live there, so he's really focused on stopping any K-pop from spreading from there. South Korea is like a paradise for North Korean defectors, and Kim Jong-un wants to shut down any connection between the two countries. He's even made it a law that sharing South Korean entertainment can get you killed. He's determined to keep his people away from anything that comes from South Korea, whether it's music, movies, or even slang. Which of these secrets revealed by the dictator's concubine did you find intriguing? Let us know your answer in the comments section.